Hi, everybody. My name is Kobe Warner. This is KOBLIZZY, and this week we're talking about the Grammys. And child, it's a lot to get into. It's like an onion with layers. Is that what Shrek said? so, we're gonna get there in a second. But first, I'm gonna talk about a couple other things. I got home night before last from filming a commercial in New Orleans. It was fun. It was a good time, and it was like my first commercial. And so, yeah, I just thought I'd tell you about it. I can't say anything really more than that, but it was a lot of fun. It was just a commercial. And New Orleans was cool. I'd never been there. And me, my mom, and my dog went. And yeah, it was fun. I'm going to Boston in a couple of days to see my friends from before I dropped out of college. And so I'm super excited to go to Boston. I haven't been there since like April last year, and I really like miss them. Although I'm not excited for how cold it is. They had like -30-degree wind chill the other night. -30 degrees. I'm like, bitch, that's insane. But oh my god, Beyonce announced the Renaissance World Tour, which I'm obviously very excited for. And we're going to get into more details and situations that Renaissance has been involved in the past 24 hours. But speaking about the Renaissance World Tour, they divided. I don't know if you know how it works, but like you sign up in these verified fan groups, at least in Beyonce's case. You sign up in these groups if you're trying to get tickets through like the verified fan thing on Ticketmaster, the monopoly that is Ticketmaster. And so Atlanta was in Group A. I can't go to Atlanta. I can't go to the Atlanta date because I'm going to be at my cousin's wedding in another place that's not Atlanta or even Georgia or even the South. So I'm like, uh-oh. So I signed up in Group C because that's where Nashville is. And Nashville is like 3 hours and some change, 4 hours away from where I live. And I signed up in Charlotte. That's like the same amount of time, 3, 4 hours. I signed up in Louisville, Kentucky. That's like 5 hours, but I was born up near there, so I have some family I can stay with. I'm trying to go to Renaissance. And so I am like trying to get there, but I'm in group B or C, so I haven't experienced the whole situation yet. But a lot of people in group A got waitlisted, and so I'm really worried. And so I just want to manifest into this microphone in front of this webcam to the sky to the beautiful weather outside. Please let me get Renaissance World Tour tickets. Please. I want to go so bad. Speaking of Renaissance, Beyonce put out the Cuff It remix on her website. You know how she is, though. So she liked to put them on her website and then put them on Spotify later, or streaming services later. But the Cuff It remix, as of now, is only available on her website. And like, apparently, I didn't see the wetter thing on TikTok. I haven't been on TikTok a lot until like very recently. I've just started posting on TikTok again. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at KOBLIZZY, KOBLIZZY. Obviously, that's the name of this podcast. But anyway, I hadn't heard the Wetter remix from TikTok, but when she it's the Cuff It Wetter remix, WETTER, Wetter, and it sounds nasty because it is. And it's so good. There's new lyrics. It's like a new vibe. It's like very Y2K. There's like a new, like really quick, like melodic rap verse kind of in Cuff It, even though the rest of it's really chill. Listen to it if you haven't. It's $1.29 on her website, or maybe it's already on streaming, depending on when you're listening to this. I don't know when she's going to put it up, but it's been out for a couple days, and I'm really loving it. It's really, really good. I love any. It's good. Just it's good. So we can pivot to the Grammys a little bit since we're talking about Beyonce, because we're first going to talk about the very positive thing that happened. Beyonce last night won 3 Grammy Awards. She posted a picture with 3, but I thought she had won 4. But anyway, she won 3 or 4. I thought she had 28, 29, 30, 31, 30. I think she won 1 in the pre-ceremony and then 3 in the ceremony. Anyway, because she now has 32 total Grammy Awards, which makes her the most awarded person in history. Not woman, not black woman, not singer, not performer, person, period. Most awarded, Beyonce. That's legend shit. With that being said, Beyonce lost the album of the year to Taylor Swift. She lost the album of the year to Beck. She lost the album of the year to Adele, which I think was justified. And I'll get into it, even though Lemonade is the cultural. Lemonade is Beyonce's magnum opus, but I still think 25 is also legend shit. And she's now lost album of the year to Harry Styles. I want a disclaimer right now. I like Harry Styles. I like the Harry's House album. I liked Harry's first album, self-titled. I loved Fine Line. I like Harry's House. I like Harry Styles. Not obviously, but I'm letting you know that I've consumed more Renaissance. I just have to be honest. And I will prove it to you. I'm going to tell you the numbers of how many times I've listened to each of these projects. Because I'm not, just for transparency's sake. Harry's House. So I don't know how to work the Last FM. Oh, I'm not even logged in. It thinks I'm some random. So I've listened, I think Beyonce's Renaissance is like my second listened to album of all time at this point. So I was streaming it down. It's like 800 some odd streams. I'm going to get the exact specifics all time. 816 times I've listened to songs from Renaissance. I've streamed songs from Renaissance 816 times. That is an amount. It came out in July of last year. Harry's House, I've streamed half that. Well, not almost half, 416 times. So you can tell that I prefer Renaissance, but 400 streams is not like that few. I know Harry's House, and I appreciate it. And this morning, when I was preparing to film this podcast, tape this podcast, I listened to Renaissance all the way through, and I listened to Harry's House all the way through. Because personally, my pick for album of the year this year was Beyonce's Renaissance. Not because she's lost to Taylor Swift and Beck and Adele and now Harry Styles. Not for that reason, but because Lemonade was... Well, Beyonce, the self-titled album in 2014, culture-shifting work. The reason your faves drop music on Friday is Beyonce decided not to put out her self-titled album in 2014 on Tuesday. That's when they used to put out music, was Tuesday. She said, I'm not putting my music out on Tuesday, I'm putting it out on Friday. And now all your faves do. So not because the culture-shifting self-titled 2014 Beyonce album, not because her magnum opus Lemonade was culture shifting. That's not why she deserved to win album of the year this year. It's because Renaissance, again, she has changed the game. She has switched up what she was doing. And then she picked a genre that centered a group of people that are under attack in this country right now, queer people. When she won, now let me tell you the moment I knew she didn't win album of the year. When they gave her best electronic / dance album. I know it's saying best electronic or dance album, but let's look at the nominees. It's like Diplo, and like it's just a category that I think Beyonce really didn't belong. Her album is a dance album, yes, but her albums very seldom do they stay within the constraints of a genre. Lemonade, they gave her best urban contemporary album. That's when I knew she didn't win album of the year. When they televise some other category like that you know they're not going to give it to her. And I just knew when she won best dance / electronic album last night that she was not going to win album of the year. And it broke my heart. And she knew it too. Did you? If you're a fan of hers and you follow her on Instagram and you were watching the show last night, after she won that award, she posted a post on Instagram saying, "We won 3, y'all," with 3 Grammys in the photo. She's like, you are not going to fuck around and play with me and try to fuck in my face like you're going to give me album of the year. Because she knew they were not. She knew they weren't going to give it to her. And I just feel like I don't know what that lady has to do to win that prize. Beyonce is an albums artist. And Harry's House is a fantastic pop record. It is great. But Renaissance, it's culture shifting. And it elevated so many people that don't get elevation, that do not get celebrated nearly enough. She won Tina Marie her first Grammy posthumously for Cuff It because Cuff It won and Tina Marie is sampled. Tina Marie's dead and only was ever a Grammy nominee, and now she's a dead Grammy winner because Beyonce sampled her and lifted black people up, lifted queer people up in this record. In her acceptance speech for Best Dance / Electronic, she thanked her Uncle Johnny, thanked her family, and she thanked the queer people who, catch the rhetoric, invented the genre. She said, thank you to the queer people who invented the genre regarding house music. Invented the genre. Don't forget. So I'm not going to go on and on about Beyonce. I'm not going to go on and on about how I think she should have won Album of the Year. She should have. But I'm not going to go on and on about that. I'm going to talk about the good stuff. Harry Styles winning pop vocal album. He won pop vocal, right? When he won pop vocal, I was like, oh, he's not going to win Album of the Year. So I was super surprised when he won Album of the Year. Just saying. Pop solo performance, Adele won that for Easy on Me, if I'm remembering that correctly. That was correct. I think that made sense. I'm happy they gave Adele a prize, but I'm happy they didn't feel the need to give her the highest prize, just because that's what she's used to. I love Adele. 30 was an album that I spent time with also. When it first came out, I listened to 30 a lot. I don't think it should have won Album of the Year. And I actually didn't think it was going to. I think a lot of people were worried that, 2017, it was going to be a Beyonce-Adele rematch. I didn't think so. I think what I'm most happy about happening last night, besides Beyonce breaking the record for the person to have the most Grammys awarded to them, was Lizzo winning Record of the Year. And her speech was beautiful because Lizzo is the positive light that she is. After her first album came out in 2019, I saw her at Music Midtown in Atlanta. And she was wonderful. And I loved her first album my senior year of high school. And I love her second album now. I still love all her music. And her first EP has a song called Coconut Oil on it. And that's one of my favorite Lizzo songs. I thought I needed to run and find somebody to love. All I needed was some coconut oil. Don't worry about the small things. I know I can do all. That sounds really bad, but I actually don't remember the melody, but it's a good song. So you should go listen to it. And so, yeah, love Lizzo. I was super happy that she won Record of the Year for About Damn Time. It's about damn time that there's somebody like Lizzo being awarded for her artistry, for her unabashed, positive energy. And she said that in her speech. You should really watch her speech if you haven't said it. If you haven't seen it. Damn, I can't talk today. My favorite thing that she said in her speech was when she spoke to Beyonce. She said, Beyonce, I skipped school in the 5th grade and my sister took me out of school so I could watch you perform. And when you sang that gospel medley with Destiny's Child, I know what she's talking about, the gospel medley. If y'all Destiny's Child's fan. Thank you, Lord, hallelujah. You've been so good to me. Yeah, so her sister took her out of school when she was 5, and she went and saw Beyonce perform with Destiny's Child. And she said she wanted to make music that affected people the way Beyonce affects people. And to see her be able to say that to Beyonce, her fellow Houston girl, and see Beyonce celebrate her and yes and whoop, and I loved that moment. And that was a super positive thing for me. I like the Grammy. The hip hop tribute was incredible. The happy 50-year anniversary to hip hop. The hip hop tribute was insane. They had everybody and their mama in that tribute, and their daddy, and their uncle, and their cousin, and their friend Steve. Every hip hop artist I could have thought off the top of my dome I saw on the stage, which was cool. And then they actually wrapped the show up with this performance. It was DJ Khaled, Jay-Z, John Legend. That performance was good. There were some more people. Lil Wayne. There were other people. I just can't remember off the top of my head. Those performances were great. Stevie Wonder performed with Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson presented the Grammy for Pop Duo. I think that was the award. To Pop Duo / Group to Sam Smith and Kim Petras for Unholy, which made Kim Petras the first transgender woman to win that award, and made Sam Smith won Grammys, and they've always been non-binary, but I love to see a non-binary person winning a Grammy. I loved that. And I loved how Sam gave Kim the time in the limelight because how monumentous it was for her to win the award. I'm not Yeah, that was a great moment for transgender people and for the queer community. And so was Beyonce calling out the queer community in her speech, which I've already mentioned. So I watched the Grammys. I enjoyed them more than I have enjoyed the Grammys for the past couple of years. I think like last year they were fun. I really liked John Baptiste getting his flowers. His performance was good. But I just feel like the stars were out this year, man. Beyonce was there. Taylor was hilarious. Oh, let's talk about Song of the Year. I really wanted Taylor Swift to win Song of the Year. It would have been her 13th Grammy. And I was really hoping she was going to go up there and say, thank you for giving me the Song of the Year for All Too Well. I am now going to give you Speak Now Taylor's version. But like she did at the whatever award show where she announced Midnights. But it didn't happen. Bonnie Raitt won Song of the Year. And I know who Bonnie Raitt is. Bonnie Raitt is a legend. I'm not familiar with the song that Bonnie Raitt won Song of the Year for. It's entitled Just Like That. I should probably have listened to it before I started taping, but I didn't think to. I'll listen to it afterwards, and that won't do you any good. But anyway, I didn't know the song. I don't think a lot of people knew the song unless you're a country fan or a Bonnie Raitt fan. But I am happy to see a legend be honored. And so I was surprised that it wasn't, somebody else. But so was she. She said that. But, what am I going to say? Good for her, I really would have liked to, like I said, see Taylor win. But, I wasn't as, upset about that as I was about the Album of the Year thing. And it's not about Harry. It's about the legacy of the disrespect towards Beyonce. It's like, okay, she's the most awarded person in history, and you will never award her for what she does best, which is make an album. Beyonce makes albums. She's an albums artist. And they won't give her the Album of the Year award. That boggles my mind. It's like they love her, but they don't know her. Or I don't get it. I really, 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 really don't get it. I really don't get it. It's like, yeah, she has a lot of Grammys, but can you see her for what she is? I mean, she's made some incredible albums over the years. Like I said, 25, I'm not even mad. And I love the moment. Adele broke the Grammy in half. She talked about Beyonce for half her speech. That was a great moment. I'm not mad at that. But and then I'm not mad at Taylor winning either. I just wish she would have won for the self-titled album. Beyonce, if she would have won against Beck, or if she would have won this year, at least it would have felt like wrongs were righted, even though I said that's not why she should have won. She didn't need to right wrongs because Renaissance stood by its own. It speaks for itself. It doesn't have a single music video or a single performance, and it still is nominated for 9 Grammys. You know what I mean? Beyonce is a legend. It's legend shit. There's no doubt about it. But the Grammys fuck around. And I feel like they're going to fuck around too many times and find out because their ratings are already dropping steadily. I don't know what the ratings looked like last night, but I don't think they've been amazing for the past couple of years. Speaking of flopping award shows, the Tonys being okay, so let's talk about gendered awards at award shows. I'm a non-binary person. We all know this. Or maybe you don't, but now you do. And I often thought, oh my God, what if I want to get a Tony? What category would I go into? There's no category for me. It's best man, best woman, best this, best that. And I'm like, okay, so they finally confronted the issue. Anne Juliet, Justin David, how am I going to talk about somebody and then forget their name? Let me get on Instagram. Justin, I'm not familiar with the Anne Juliet musical, but I saw this story floating around because I follow a bunch of theater people on Instagram. Justin David Sullivan is their name. They use he, she, and they pronouns. And they are a principal character, a lead actor in the musical and Juliet on Broadway. And when it came time to be considered for a Tony, they were told they had to choose which gendered category they wanted to be put in because they weren't not going to make an accommodation, or they weren't going to finally right or wrong and ungender the categories. And so Justin David Sullivan writes on Instagram, as a non-binary performer playing a non-binary principal role on Broadway, I have been asked by many people what I plan on doing about this year's award season nomination categories. While I was thrilled to see that some are eliminating gender from their nomination categories, I was disheartened to learn that the Tony Awards are not planning on making this year's nomination categories more inclusive of gender expansive or trans non-binary performers like myself. Because I was told I had no other option but to choose between one of the two gendered category choices, two gendered categories in which I would be eligible, I felt I had no choice but to abstain from being considered for a nomination this season. I could not in good faith move forward with denying any part of my identity to conform to a system and a structure that does not hold space for people like me. Although this decision was difficult to make, I am hopeful that award shows will learn from this and make the meaningful changes necessary in order to consider, nominate, and award people of all gender identities moving forward. Signed, Justin David Sullivan. That is a badass person right there. Because theater people, Tony, you're a principal actor on Broadway, and you're forfeiting your option to be considered for the highest honor available to a theater performer because they will not accept you and change their system rather than make you conform. That's a badass. Because as amazing as a Tony would be, having to misgender yourself to get it would be fucked up. And the fact that the Tonys, it's not the Grammys or the Oscars or what, the Broadway community is supposed to be the most inclusive, right? And it's the Tonys who will not lower the walls, drop the barriers, and allow everybody welcome a non-binary person playing a non-binary principal role on Broadway, and they can't be considered for a Tony. That is doing everything correctly and everything right and finally getting where you want to be, and your identity is what's stopping you from that. What if it was because you were a woman? What if they didn't nominate women? What if they didn't nominate black people? I'm saying if you aren't non-binary, take yourself out of this, put yourself in these shoes. In history, women and black people, people of color, brown people, disabled people, all the different people in the world who aren't straight white cis men who are perfectly ably bodied. We've all faced discrimination at some point. At this point, it's more nuanced racism, well, I mean, sometimes, Jesus Christ, this is a huge conversation. My point is that Justin David Sullivan deserves to be eligible for Tony consideration. And the fact that they are a principal character on Broadway and they can't be, not for any reason other than the way that they identify, is fucked up. And I hope you hear me clearly. I didn't mean to get on a soapbox, but that shit pisses me off. Are you kidding me? Anyway, what are we talking about next, child? Ray. Let's talk about Ray. The escapism artist. If you don't know who Ray is by name, you might know the song Escapism featuring 070 Shake. Ray put out her debut album. I don't know if it's her debut album. It might be. She said she's waited 7 years. I think it's her debut album. It's called My 21st Century Blues. And it's really good. Like, it attacks breakups. It talks about misogyny. It talks about the state of the world and state of the environment. It talks about all kinds of very timely topics, very 21st century stuff. The production is incredible. It spans various genres. Some songs remind you of Amy Winehouse. Some songs make you feel like you're popping pussy in the gay club, sniffing poppers, you know. Like, it's a pretty expansive pop album. I feel like there's kind of something for everybody. And so, yeah, I mean, I've listened to it a couple of times since it come out. Let's get on here. Let me talk about my favorite songs. Um, on my 21st Century Blues. Where are you? The cover's really cool. Also, there's like this big like mound of like speakers and keyboards and guitars and a bunch of like shit, electronic shit, musical shit, computers like painted white and in a pile that she's standing on top of in the album cover. And she built, I saw online, she built a sculpture, like a replication of this mound of white electronical musical equipment shit that was the set on her her album cover. And she built the set in real life in front of her old record label that was sitting on her album and wouldn't let her release it, which is such a good fuck you moment. So she got out of that horrible record contract, got into a better deal, got to release her album, and she dropped the evidence of her work right in front of the place that inhibited her progress previously. I love that. It's a boss bitch move. Good for you, Ray. So my favorite songs on my 21st Century Blues, Oscar-winning Tears is really great. It's the first song after the introduction. Escapism, I love it. I know that's like the popular one, but like Escapism eats. It eats. I really love Worth It. I really love Five-Star Hotels featuring Mahalia. Ice Cream Man. The Thrill Is Gone reminds me of Amy Winehouse, dog. The thrill is gone, the thrill is gone, the thrill is gone. I watched her sing it live on Graham Norton, and I was like, this is very, like, old, like, Mark Ronson, Amy Winehouse vibes. But maybe it's just me. Anyway, so I like Ray's album, and if you like Escapism, I think it's definitely worth giving it a listen to. It's worth noting that she asked you listen to the album for the first time in order, so I don't know if you people are freaks who shuffle albums on the first listen, or like don't listen to something in order on the first listen, but if you do, that's ridiculous, number one. And number two, you should listen to this one in order. You should also listen to my favorite album, Renaissance, in order. So let's just talk about Renaissance in honor of Beyonce breaking a massive record last night, but also Renaissance being massively disrespected. Alien Superstar is what played when she won Best Dance / Electronic Album, and when she was like breaking the record. That's like what James Corden presented the award, though. I thought that was a little like, really. But anyway, Alien Superstar played, and I was like, yeah, bitch, you are an alien superstar. I'm too classy for this world. Forever, I'm that girl. Feed you diamonds and pearls. Ooh, baby, I'm too classic to be touched. I paid them all in dust. I'm stingy with my love. Ooh, baby, UNIQ. I'm stingy for my love. Oh, baby, you see, I forgot the words for a second. Stingy with my love. I know the words to Alien Superstar, folks. Speaking of sounding really funny and not that great when you're singing into a microphone, I love Harry Styles, but when he started his performance of As It Was, which is literally one of my favorite songs of last year, might I add. Like, when I was listening to Renaissance and Harry's House before I started taping this podcast, As It Was came on, and I was just like, yeah, like, it's just one of those songs that courses through your veins. Anyway, when he started his As It Was performance, he seemed a little nervous, or like a little, I don't know what. He didn't sound, it's like it took him a second to get like with it. He like, I don't know if he started in the wrong key or what it was, but he sounded funny for a second. Just a thought I had. I love you, Harry Styles. And like I said, love Harry Styles. Maybe he was nervous, but yeah, I guess the Grammy wasn't being for a performer. It was an album. But I still think Beyonce should have won. I just don't want to shit on Harry in the process, and I want to make it very clear because I like him. But it's just like... Anyway, who were the nominees? Let's talk about all the nominees for Album of the Year. It was Voyage by ABBA, 30 by Adele, Un Verano Senti by Bad Bunny, Renaissance by Beyonce, Good Morning Gorgeous Deluxe by Mary J. Blige, It's In These Silent Days by Brandi Carlile, Music of the Spheres by Coldplay, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick Lamar, Special by Lizzo, and Harry's House by Harry Styles, which was the winner. I mean, But like I said, because Harry won pop vocal of all the albums here, I didn't think he was going to be the one to win. I thought they could have. I mean, they gave Lizzo record of the year, so wasn't really sure she was going to win. I thought maybe it could have been um, uh, like Bad Bunny or like Renaissance, dog. Like, I think Renaissance should have won. I said I wasn't gonna go on and on about it, and then I proceeded to go on and on and on and on and on about it. But I'm just like, I'm kind of butthurt. I just feel like Beyonce doesn't care. You know, like she just broke this massive record. Like she probably doesn't care. But I would just be mad because she always says she's an albums artist, and that she makes fantastic albums. And then feels like the same disrespect over and over again. And I just feel like, you know, all the cameras are there and on you. And so you just have to, like, every time. And I'm like, so you can't tell she's actually upset. I mean, I guess she wouldn't want us to know because people would probably be like, oh, Beyonce's butthurt. She didn't win the award. You know how people are. I don't know, man. It's just like the competitions like this and award shows, it kind of creates unnecessary tension a little bit. But also, you know, it's fun to win stuff. So I guess, you know, I would like to win a Grammy. I wouldn't be mad if that were the case. I would love to be nominated too, to be honest. Although I'm obviously not there yet with my fucking 7 songs. So the Grammys, I'm gonna put a poll on Spotify, give you or like a question box. I'm gonna leave you a place to give me some thoughts about the Grammys. If you're watching on YouTube, totally comment. If you're watching TikToks or Reels, please comment your thoughts about the Grammys in regards to this episode. I'm totally open for an open dialogue about this award show. Like I said, I watched all of it, so if there's a moment that I didn't refer to because I just didn't think too off the dome, let me know. I would love to like expand more on what happened and what the happenings were at the Grammys. I loved how drunk Taylor Swift was. That bitch was drunk. I know drunk Taylor when I see her, and she was drunk. And I lived for that. And I also love how she always stands up and claps for people, and oftentimes she's the only one standing. I love that about her. Like, it's just like supportive energy. And then and people be like, oh, well, she's just doing that because the camera's on her. And then I saw this video of her on Twitter where somebody was just like taping her with her phone while Beyonce was breaking the record for winning the most Grammys ever. And she's like dancing around and jumping up and down, not a camera in sight. She was just happy to be there, happy to support women. And I loved it, drunk Taylor. So with that being said, if there's anything else I didn't discuss, please let me know. Please follow me on TikTok and Instagram at KOBLIZZY. And please join me again next week when I talk about something else. I'm going to go take a bath, maybe do some yoga. But I'll probably just eat some waffles or something. So that's probably a little bit more realistic. I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you next time. Like this video if you liked it. Leave a review. That's it. Bye. I'll blow it. That's cuter.